Good morning, listeners. You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Montclair. My name is Aidan Ivers.
And I'm Nicole Passera.
And this is Floor of the Forgotten Borough, our weekly Staten Island show. And I'm really excited.
I'm so excited. We got a good episode planned for you today.
We got a special treat for you later on, listeners. We got an interview with somebody in particular who we're going to hear about later on. So I'm really excited to share.
Yeah.
And this week we don't have any Staten Island news stories to share because 3 days ago, start of the COVID pandemic.
It was the 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, the day in which the world turned upside down, as everybody says, right? And a couple weeks ago, we spoke about, our experiences regarding March 13th related to school, right? I got out at 1 o'clock. It was announced that my school was off until April 20th. And then that got extended to the end of June. Really quick, and we discussed that. We discussed how we went through online school. But this time, listeners, we're going to discuss in depth, based on the best of our memory, how our lives and our families were throughout the pandemic, right?
Yeah, how did we all change through this crazy moment in time?
Yeah, I mean...
That no one ever expected this to happen.
Of course not. I mean, there was obviously, around February of 2020, we were hearing about Italy. That was where COVID was really strong. And then it just spread all around the world, unfortunately. And a lot of the everyday things that we love to do were out of our...
It was taken away from us. We had no control over it.
Intangible stuff that we couldn't do. But regardless, there were some pretty good moments throughout the pandemic, I think.
We all had to make the most out of our lives based on that.
Yeah. So, Nicole, why don't you start off, take us back to the first beginnings of March. What was one of the things that you remember doing in a positive light?
Okay, so I remember, March 13th is when everything shut down, but March 19th is my mom's birthday. And so that was, 6 days after everything. And we all, were in the mindset, oh my goodness, we can't leave our houses. And so I remember my sister and I started getting into cooking and baking over the pandemic because we were bored. We were like, let's try out new things. And so we used to pull up recipes and we would cook. And for my mom's birthday, usually we would go out to dinner or we would have our family come over. But during COVID, especially 6 days after everything shut down, we didn't know what was happening. Yeah. And so we didn't do that. And so what happened was my sister and I made a dinner for her. And we made chicken franchise, potatoes, and broccoli. And I have to say, I remember that meal. It was a pretty good meal.
Okay.
And it was a nice little dinner. It was just my sister, my mom, and my dad. But it's just crazy to think how we had, we cooked for her because in no other role, we would never have done that.
I mean, yes, it's a really good thing to do. I'm sure your mom really appreciated that a lot. And by the way, happy early birthday, Mrs. Bizarre, if you're listening.
Yeah.
4 days. 4 days from now.
Yeah, her birthday's coming up.
All right. So I hope this year is a lot better than, what Nicole was just saying, where, everything was really uncertain. Sure, that was a really nice thing for her. It was a good, I think it's really memorable that you remember that meal that you made. And it relates to, how most people, with all this free time, they learn something new.
Learn new skills.
Learn something new. And I think it's really cool that you and your sister, learn about making quality food for your family, because a lot of restaurants either were closed or were you can only order it through the phone or online. That was the only option at the beginning, at least. Then it got moved to outdoor dining and then eventually indoor dining. But that was really cool. That's really cool. And for me though, there's none of my family members have a birthday in March, so early on I remember, we tried going to stores, right? There used to be a ShopRite right around basically the corner of my block. Yeah. And it was really, I wouldn't say difficult to get in because we went 2 days after the week of the pandemic beginning, right? I remember my mom and I went and we of course wore masks. Everybody was wearing masks. And we wore gloves.
You wear gloves too. Yeah, no, that was a whole thing too. Yeah.
Just to be safe, right? And
because we didn't know. We didn't know what this was. We were all in the unknown at the time.
Yeah, and we got the stuff that we needed at that time, right? like when we went to the store. But as the weeks went on, right, moving into April, we kept hearing stories about these stores having lines of people trying to get in. They would not let people in. That was
No, I remember that.
my goodness, that was really like a really scary thought, to have lines of people waiting to just get basic necessities to, like, either for
Just
themselves or
regular
their family.
groceries. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was around April and May was like the height, quote
Oh
unquote, of the
yeah.
pandemic, and New York was actually called the epicenter. Remember?
Yeah.
New York was one of the hardest hit places, or the hardest hit places in the whole United States. So, it was a lot we had to go through, right? But in my birthday, as I said before, listeners, April 27th, right? Turned 17 during a pandemic. And I think April 26th, right, the day before my birthday, my mom and my dad and I tried going to Costco off of Forest Hill Road, right? You know, the one that's by Richmond Avenue. Tried going there, same deal, line of people, we couldn't get in.
Oh yeah.
And I think my mom and dad learned that Costco, during the height of the pandemic, put out a policy saying if you're older than 60 years old, if you're 60 or over, we're creating a policy where you can come in, get what you need, we're sure you wear a mask, you can get out because we have a pandemic going on.
Yeah.
So the day after, right, during my birthday, my dad and I drove to Costco. Luckily, there was no line at all, and we got in.
Really surprised?
Yeah.
That
was really, I think that was a gift. That was like
that was a birthday gift from like the universe.
The universe, or whoever. Because, like I said, we've been hearing stories about how hard it was to get into stores, just to get in.
Yeah, just to enter.
Luckily I think as we were leaving, like, we got the stuff that we needed, my dad and I, and then we got in our car. When we got in our car to go home, the line was forming. Stayed in probably the whole day.
It.
Yeah, that was really lucky.
What time was it?
We got there at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we left around like 10, 11 or 12 in the afternoon. So that's like the height of the afternoon when the commerce is high.
Yeah.
As high as possible, because a whole economy across the United States and the world got thrown out of whack. That was, I think, that was really good. And we actually got a chocolate tuxedo cake to share. Happy birthday, and we had that.
Oh, I love that.
That day I caught for during my birthday. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What went on during your life in April, Nicole, 2020?
In April, that was in the time, second month of the pandemic. I still wanted to learn new skills because I was a sophomore in high school when COVID hit, and I was in the theater program, and I was always at school. I was always at rehearsal, so I never had really time to do things. But my aunt, she gave me she's a musician, and she gave me a guitar, I remember, for like Christmas when I was 7 years old, and I never picked it up. I just always wanted to play it, but I never had time to learn. And so, the pandemic, now we're all bored. Now I have time to learn. So I picked up the guitar and I started going on YouTube. I did some like self-teaching. I learned how to play a couple of chords, some notes. And then my aunt, she started giving me guitar lessons. And it was really nice because it was like I really started to love the guitar. And now like, 3 years later, now I play on my own too. And so it's really nice to know that because I remember at the time I wanted to accomplish something in this pandemic, and I feel like that's what I did accomplish. And yeah, it was really great. And speaking of my aunt, we will be having an interview with her.
Oh, that's what we're talking to.
Yes, we will.
Later on. Pre-recorded.
Yes, we will be having an interview with her later on. In this show, yeah. So stay tuned.
Yeah, no, but I think that's a really cool story. How your aunt took the time out of her schedule to teach you guitar, and then when the time came where you said, "Well, I have all this free time, what are we going to do with it? We're going to learn how to play guitar. We're going to learn how to play guitar." That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's a really, what do you say? It's harder to learn how to play.
Well, it was harder when I was in school because I didn't have time to sit down and actually play. But then with COVID, I had the time, and so that's when I wanted to use it. I've always wanted to learn it. I never had time, and that was the moment I had time, and I was like, I want to accomplish something.
Sure. Glad that you did, Nicole. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And for me, though, going off of that topic, right?
Yeah.
Something that I did, a new experience that I did on social media, right? I got the idea to post a video of myself singing a song, right? And thinking about that right now, generally speaking, that's not something you see every day on like Instagram, right?
No, it's not.
So this happened later on, like during the summer, but I got the idea to do that, right? And it took time and time because I was like, it was a risk, but I ended up doing it as well. That's something that I tried doing, and I think that's a highlight for me because if it wasn't for the pandemic and a time of like, well, what could we do with this? That probably wouldn't have happened,
Exactly.
Just like that new experience.
Like if you think about it, if COVID didn't happen, it's like our lives right now would not be the same. I feel like
I don't know how it would be. Like it would just be like
that's the thing.
like I would just imagine like it would be how we lived in like November 2019 or like winter 2019. If you remember how life was then, I assume that's how it would be. Probably with more innovations now, but 3 years after that. But that's still the. I mean, we can't rewrite the past. That's
Exactly.
This is our experience, right? And speaking about the time where like nobody could get together for parties, like you said, like for your mom during March, May 24th, going to May now, right?
Okay.
May 24th is my grandma's birthday.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
And during the pandemic, she turned 90 years old.
Wow.
90.
That's
right?
a big one.
No.
Especially during the pandemic.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's awesome.
That's great.
And of course, we did not have a gathering for her.
Yeah.
Because number one, I don't think she wants those types of things. Like presently, she doesn't want those things to happen.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. But like for my grandma, we did a drive-by birthday party. So my family.
Those were a thing. Yes, drive-bys.
My family, all on my grandma's side, she did not know anything that was happening. We didn't. I'm sure. My mom and dad knew it was happening, but I didn't really know it was happening. It was really funny, actually. Around the corner of my house is Queen of Peace Church, right? The parish where I went to school. Mm-hmm. And there's a parking lot, right on Noodle Plain for the church.
I actually know exactly what you're talking about.
The whole lineup of family members just hid there.
Really?
They hid in the parking lot, and then when it was time, that's when I rolled down the street. And I remember, like, it was everybody, like my uncle, my aunt, my cousin. One of my uncles actually had a white pickup truck. And it was like a big inflatable cake in the back, like in the part where you put hardware or whatever in the heart. It was like a big inflatable cake. It was really fun. That was really cool.
That's cool.
And yeah, my grandma got like a board. It was a board with everybody's signature on it because nobody.
That's so cute.
Yeah, it was really good. And I think it was really cool for my grandma too because she didn't know what was going on.
That's a surprise. And drive-bys were such a big thing, I think, during the pandemic, and it really shows how all of our families, the community in general, all came together to really make the best out of this really hard time in everyone's lives.
Yeah, and after that, everybody just went home because they honked their horns. That was an appropriate time.
Yeah.
That was an appropriate time to honk their horns because normally when we think about that, we think about, oh my gosh, this person around me, driver, I'm gonna honk my horn at them, just so hey, you're a bad driver. But in this sense, it was like happy birthday, honk, 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 honk. So that was cool.
I've done a few drive-bys during the pandemic, and I just remember thinking I would never want to drive through like a drive-by. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, and
that would
you think about the perspective, like, I mean, you don't want to be in the car, like honking the horn.
Let's just say I am driving, right, and all of a sudden I see a drive-by. Like I'm just going on my merry way, and you just get into a drive-by.
Well, why don't you honk your horn as well?
I mean, honestly, that's
honk your horn as well.
But that's crazy, though. Imagine, like,
be part of the fun. Be part of the fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like, be part of it. I don't know who this person is, but I'm just gonna honk my horn.
Happy birthday, stranger. I kind of wish that happened to me. I would have taken advantage. I would have taken advantage of that so hard. That's a really cool experience, right?
Yeah.
And moving into now, July, right?
Yeah.
July. Over the summer now, this was when we were both out of school. We were both out of school, online school to be at least.
Well, yeah.
Because all of our tests, all of our finals were online. But July 4th, right? July 4th, of course, we didn't have a huge gathering like we usually do at my house. I take that back. We didn't have people come over our house, but for me, my family and I actually went to my aunt's house in Freehold for the day. We had a nice barbecue with her and my uncle and their kids, right?
Okay.
That was really cool, and it was nice to see them. The last time we saw them before that, I think, was 2019 Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we had so many gaps where we wouldn't see our family for a long time.
And that was good to see them, just to make sure everybody was good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And later on that day, though, Nicole, I'm sure you can remember this. The main 2 times of the year where we hear fireworks on regularly during the night, July 4th and New Year's Eve, right? But this July 4th in 2020, it was something peculiar.
It was.
Because the fireworks, oh my goodness, it sounded like it was the whole year. It sounded like we were in like one of those simulations where it was like the whole stereo sound all around us was fireworks. You could hear it all around the sky, right? And it was really, really loud. And I think that relates to how, at that time it was almost 4 months since the pandemic got started.
Yeah.
A lot of people were going through many difficulties. So I think that was kind of a way of saying, well, we're going through these types of things, but we still have the ability to keep some normalcy throughout the year regarding fireworks. And that year, because 2021, it was not the same. It was not the same.
No.
The fireworks were just really, really different, really loud, all around the sky.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. I remember that 4th of July. My family didn't do anything because my dad was sick. I don't remember what he had, but we all thought he had COVID.
Yeah.
But he didn't. But I do remember going outside, and in like my front yard, there were all these people doing fireworks, and I've never seen that in my life.
Oh.
Like they were doing it right on my street.
Right in front of your house?
Yes, and I was like, wow, it was just really crazy.
But that's another thing though, Nicole. It's like I remember with my house, I lived in a very residential area, as we were talking about last week with our neighborhoods, and one house on the next block, right? Next block, living directly next to me, like blockwise. They had some of the biggest fireworks imaginable going on in a residential area.
Yeah,
that's meant for like an open field.
That's the
what
thing.
Are you doing?
Like, what are you doing? It was really odd to see.
Like, what are you doing?
It was cool, but it was like, be
kind
careful.
Of
yeah, no.
I'm sure this happens every year, right? But probably a lot of police precincts around the island got complaints of like loud noises.
But
what are you gonna do? Those people are like, especially that year.
Yeah,
they were just nonstop and loud.
I think people were just going crazy at that point. The pandemic, people were going stir crazy.
That's a little bit crazy, but
they went a little crazy.
Yeah, but after that though, they started to get a little bit less and less and less as the weeks went on, as the days went on during that week. And something else during that week, for me, that happened July 8th of 2020. I took my road test. Took a road test, yeah.
Right.
I took it at what we were talking about last week, Oakwood Beach.
Yeah.
The part where on Mill Road, where all those roads intersect, and that's where the disgusting area of the wastewater chemical plant treatment is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful site.
Yeah. And a little side note about it, right? I was taking my road test in the 2005 Honda Tucson.
Yeah.
Love that car with all my heart. I'll always miss it. Something that happened during it was I was driving with my instructor, right? On the correct side of the road, right? There were cones, and a lady just comes and almost hits my car, head on. But I put my foot on a brake, and then it's the general sit-down thing where, we almost have a head-on collision, and then the other driver shakes their head like, "Yeah, you almost just hit my car."
That's so.
But you're the one who almost hit me. You almost hit me.
Exactly.
Why are you shaking your head at me?
Don't blame other people for your own mistakes.
I know, but
especially in driving.
Yeah, so that happened, and I think that, I don't mean to brag, Nicole, but I think that kind of told my instructor, like, yeah, this kid knows what he's doing. This kid knows how to drive.
That
I
showed him.
Yeah, I passed. I passed the first.
You passed.
That's not often people say like.
So now that since you were doing the road test in the pandemic, what did that look like? Because that was a few months after.
My instructor and I had to both wear masks in the car.
You had to wear masks. Okay.
And the vaccine wasn't available yet, so I wasn't vaccinated. It was just.
Did you have to have like the windows open?
Yeah. Yep. We had the windows open. I don't think like I had to get my temperature taken like during it or before it. I just remember I had to wear a mask. That was a gift.
Yeah.
During that time, But yeah, it was good because.
Well, I'm glad you passed. That's definitely a key memorable moment that you can take away from the pandemic.
Of course, yeah. But moving into the month of August, Nicole, what's something memorable that happened for you?
Yeah, so for August 5th is my birthday. And that year I was turning 16. And, the plan was I was going to have, a big, a nice traditional Staten Island Sweet 16,
Oh, well, that was a plan.
Well, that was the plan, right? So that obviously didn't happen because, a lot of venues were closed, DJ company, like a lot of stuff shut down. Yeah. And so we couldn't have the Sweet 16. Mm-hmm. So then I remember we tried to reschedule it for November because we thought like the pandemic would be over, and it wasn't over. No. So then the year. So then I had a Starlight 17 in 2021.
Okay, yeah. I remember you talking about this. You told us about that.
That's what I did, and I was really happy I did have that because it was really fun. But my Sweet 16 was still really good. It was smaller. I mean, I just had like, you know, my immediate family and some of my friends come over my house in my yard.
Yeah.
You know, did our social distancing outside yard party, and it was really fun. I did have a surprise drive-by.
That's awesome.
And it was fun. Awesome. I remember having all the posters, like people wrote happy birthday, everyone honking their horns. And then one of my friends, Julia and Ryan, they made me a video of like all of my family telling me like happy birthday. Like they made like every one of my family just like give me a happy birthday message. And they edited it into like a really nice video. And I still have it. Awesome. And it's really nice to know like
your family does that. They care about you a lot.
Exactly.
That was awesome. No, that is.
It was a good birthday. I have to say. It was definitely memorable.
Yeah, no, that's especially like, you know, like you said, you're planning on having a big event, and you have to make the most of what you had.
Exactly, I have to make the most of it.
I think that's what your family did with that video.
I definitely think that's what like we all learned during the pandemic.
Sure.
You know, you take because we all took the little things for granted. You know, you gotta remember all those little things and incorporate it. You know. That's
right. And I'm glad that you still have that. You still think about what positive impact that made on you, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of that positive impact, listeners, we're going to take a quick break right now, and after that, we're going to discuss just what happened, you know, a little bit regarding beginning of the fall of 2020. Then, listeners, we got that interview we talked about before.
Oh, yeah.
Nicole's aunt, Laurie Davis. So if you're interested in hearing about those things, please stay tuned. This is Florida Forgotten Borough with me, Aidan Ivers.
And Nicole Facero.
And listeners, if you're just tuning in, we have been talking about our experiences, our memories during the COVID pandemic. 3 years ago today, was the start of when the world turned upside down for real, because it was like leading up to it, and then bam, March 13th, that's when it happened. And we've been discussing, you know, what the positive aspects about all that went on, right? And we're at a point now where we're talking about the start again of school, right? And again,
in the fall.
Yeah, in the fall.
2020.
We discussed during our school episode how that went, right? It was very different for public school public and Catholic school, because for Monsignor Farrell, right, we had a hybrid model, meaning it was split between Monsignor Farrell colors are maroon and gold. So from everybody whose last name started with A through L, you're in the maroon group. M through Z, you're in the gold group. And it alternated between different days.
So you were in the maroon group?
I was in the maroon group, yeah. And then it was like, so if it's a Monday, right? Monday maroon group's in. B-Day, Tuesday, gold group is in. Wednesday, maroon. Thursday, gold. Friday, maroon, right? It was alternating things, right? And it was hybrid because when one group was in the building, one group was in person, the other group was on Zoom or on Microsoft Teams, or like video camera, which is good to relax. We spoke about this during.
It's good to have a balance.
Yeah.
Because with public school, well, for Wagner specifically, it was completely remote.
Yeah, that was
and I was really mad about that because I really thought it was going to be at least hybrid, and it wasn't. And I was like, whatever. But we made the best out of it. But
and
I just hate it.
It's interesting though. No, it's interesting, Nicole, because for Monsignor Farrell, right? This is an exclusive thing for seniors at Monsignor Farrell. For Halloween, moving into October, right? Seniors at Monsignor Farrell have the opportunity to dress up for Halloween.
That's good.
No other grade can do that for Halloween. Only seniors. So
they were really favoring those seniors.
Yeah. So I actually I dressed up. I took advantage. I was nobody in particular. I just put together like a dress shirt and some makeup, and I had a mask on, and I was just like a pandemic dead guy. If that makes sense. Like I had black makeup on.
You were a devil.
Yeah, with a mask.
With a mask.
Yeah.
So you were the pandemic devil guy.
Because masks were required for if you're in person, right? They were in person. So I took advantage. I had it on.
You had to decorate that or incorporate the mask into your costume.
Yeah, I was not like given any risk for anybody there regarding my school, my classmates, or my teachers, because I had to wear them too. And I think that was really good. Unfortunately, because there's like a raffle at the end and it's a contest to see who had the best costume. Unfortunately, I did not win, but it's all good.
All right. Yeah, for Halloween that year, I was Elle from Stranger Things.
Okay.
And I don't really do anything that year.
It's all good.
I do remember going to my friend Sam's house. I never we didn't go trick or treating, but I think we were giving out candy, but I don't think really many people came because a lot of people didn't trick or treat at that time because we didn't know. We were still. It was the first year of the pandemic, and we didn't know what really to expect.
And that makes sense because everybody still wanted to keep safe as well. Yeah, so we'll keep the family safe.
Especially if you're like sharing candy.
Exactly.
You have
touching
to be
stuff,
careful.
touching things with the hands.
Exactly.
I remember in 2021, people did come out around my house at least.
Yes, 2021 it started getting better.
Yeah.
But 2020, no one.
But I'll tell you, Nicole, moving into like November and December now, holiday season, right? Holiday season. I think the Archdiocese in general said we don't want to risk people getting sick as they're gonna be traveling for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
traveling for Thanksgiving, traveling for Christmas. So from November to January 2021, I was all virtual. My senior trial was all virtual.
Oh, really? So it changed when
it was only Zoom, which again, it was kind of relaxing in the sense you didn't have to go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But
it was too relaxed.
That was only because they didn't want to avoid. They didn't want to get involved with like, oh, well, this person got sick during this time.
Yeah.
What about this one? So they didn't want to deal with that. It was difficult, but we got through it. And then when January 2021 came, it was back to the Zoom hybrid thing.
Yeah, I do remember that whole fall season. My house was getting renovated, the whole entire house. I remember my dad wants to get our house renovated because we've had it. I think they had it at the time about like 17 years, and they were like, maybe this is a good time to do it,
Yeah.
But it was really crazy because as my upstairs was getting renovated, all four of us lived downstairs during the pandemic, and my sister and I had to go to my grandma's house to do school because we couldn't do school. The Wi-Fi was really bad, and you would hear the construction workers banging 24/7.
Oh my gosh, that must have been really annoying.
Yeah, so it was crazy. I did like that I was able to get up and go to my grandma's house, so at least I had kind of a routine, but it was just a crazy time, especially looking back on it.
Definitely. It was like I said, we all had our difficulties that we went through, but we all got through them, and now we're here. Look where we are now.
Yeah, we made it.
Yeah, I mean.
We pushed through.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something to keep in mind where we went through those difficulties. You said construction work on Zoom. I could not imagine how annoying that must have been.
It was
oh my God.
Crazy. I don't know how my family lived in that little tiny room for 4 months. It was crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, with that came Thanksgiving and Christmas. My family didn't do anything. We didn't travel.
Yeah.
That was the only time. That was the only time in my life up until that point where we didn't go to my aunt's house for Christmas.
It was just something that, those times it wasn't normal for us, and a pandemic isn't something that happens every day.
No.
And I think now that we are, I think in future generations we're gonna be looking back on this pandemic and talking about it. We're gonna tell our kids you should be happy. You're lucky you're going to school because in
your levitating car.
Exactly, because we didn't have that, especially in our high school years.
No. But thinking about the innovations and really to cap off the positive aspects that we've been talking about, I think it's time to play the interview, Nicole.
I think it's
time to play the interview.
I think this is the time we've all been waiting for.
The moment we've all been waiting for, listeners. Interview with Nicole's aunt, Laurie Davis, about a project that she and Nicole and Nicole's family put together during the pandemic. I heard about it. I was really, really intrigued by it, right? And we're going to hear that interview right now. So here we go. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about your work that you did over the pandemic, because that time was really time for all of us where we had to think about, well, how can we use all of this free time that we had from staying home and having things out of our capability of doing, right?
Correct.
First, I want to ask you, Davis, what drove you personally to become a musician so prominent in field of music?
Well, I started very young. I was only, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 years old when I started, finding things around the house to tap on and as kids do, pots and pans. And I had an uncle. My Uncle Johnny used to give me instruments. He gave me little drums, a little ukulele, guitar. My other grandfather gave me, excuse me, an organ. And I also got a zither. Do you guys know what a zither is?
No, what is that?
Okay, it's like a lap harp. It's very tiny, shaped like a triangle. And you put it on your lap, and it has like 16 to 18 strings on it. And you pick it. But what's interesting is about it, you don't really have to take lessons on it. You just take the music as the same shape as the instrument, and it sticks right into it, and you follow the music notes. So I was able to play all different kinds of songs on this lap harp zither instrument. And when I was young, I used to do like little shows with my friends. So I was the opening act, and I was playing the zither, and I was playing like a Mexican song, La Cucaracha. I would play like all different folk songs on there from the time back in the day. And it was really fun. So I was the opening act. I got to play for 10 minutes before we put on our little silly plays and stuff. So that was really fun. So that was like my real first taste of music. And then I started building my own drum sets at home. And I would use like toys or my brother's tinker sticks from his Tinker Toys as drumsticks, and use my sister's table as my drums, or something that was like metal for a cymbal holder. And I used to play to songs. And so that was 9, 10, 11. And then I went from there. I started playing guitar, I started writing, trying to sing, because as I got older, it was really hard to get vocalists in the band because nobody like really sounded that great. They thought they could sing, but not really. And as we went along, me and my keyboard player, when we were in our, I guess, later teens and early 20s, we decided to start singing ourselves, and we fronted the band ourselves. So I was singing from behind the drum set. She was singing from behind the keyboards, and we got a guitar player that could sing, and the three of us used to just do it ourselves. So that was pretty much the beginnings of Laurie Davis, musician.
That's awesome. So, to go along with Shine Your Light, what inspired you to write the song?
Okay, so being stuck in during the pandemic, I was a preschool teacher for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I used to play my guitar for the kids. I would play nursery rhymes and little dances, and we'd do shows, and even with my nieces, like Nicole, you remember, right? Because you're my niece. When we used to put on little shows for our families and play instruments. So I would do all that kind of thing. But it was always to bring joy. It didn't matter how good you were.
Yeah.
Right? That you were, the most talented person. Just to have fun, to teach children to have fun. But then I wanted to bring it to a bigger picture, to teach other people, older people, to have joy in their lives, positivity. We were going through a very tough time in 2019, 2020, 2021 with that pandemic, and everybody was stuck in. You couldn't even have a birthday party.
Yeah.
Right? You had to drive by people's houses and throw gifts out the window.
No, yeah.
That was how your extent of giving joy to somebody. Here's your birthday gift. Boom, throw it out the window. I wanted to do more. So I wrote this song, Shine Your Light, to show, and there's a lot of bad things happening at that time too. A lot of upheaval in this world, even today. Very, very bad. And I just wanted to show people that bullying isn't good. Being mean to people isn't good. Putting people down for what their aspirations are isn't good. And people are doing that a lot, especially at that time. And people were just very mean, especially on social media.
Yeah.
And I wanted to change that. So I came up with this song, and I was like, so how do I get this out? I don't know technology. And I just happened to be talking to Nicole one day, and I mentioned the song. I share everything with Nicole. She's my best friend. So I told her about this song, and I played it for her. And I said, I have a vision for this song, Nicole. I can see this song bringing joy to people, but I don't know how to do that. And I'm telling you, I believe in miracles. And a few weeks later, Nicole came back with me and said, I have an idea. Maybe we could do a video. Maybe we could bring the message to the song. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do that, Nicole. And she says, but Christina just got a video camera, and Ryan knows how to edit, and Julia knows how to write, and I can do dance things. I was like, I can sing like it and play my song. That's all I can do. I can sing it and play it, take it away, do what you want. So the kids really, you were 15 at the time?
Right? Yeah. I was about 15,
You took the reins on that, and you got the four of you together, Ryan, Julia, Christina, and yourself. And you did all the other parts that I couldn't do. I mean, literally, you did everything. You did editing, you formed camera shots, and then you guys said, we're gonna go record it outside because we can't be inside. And that's when Clove Lakes was chosen. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I can drive to Clove Lakes. So I picked them up, take them to Clove Lakes, and what did we do? We went like 2 or 3 times, right?
Yeah, it was about, we rehearsed one time and we filmed, I think, twice.
But I think you guys kept going back to Clove Lakes because I couldn't make it all the time. But you guys went and did like extra shots because I was amazed
and stuff
at some of the shots that you guys had, like the ending part with the bridge.
Yeah.
I wasn't even there for that. You guys just did it. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And all that technology came together. But all I did was have the song and the vision. And they took it, and which was perfect because they were shining their light through their expertise and their knowledge of what they knew how to do. And the whole goal was to bring joy and to the world, bring joy through the music, bring joy through the message. And then other things formed after that, right? We got the YouTube site and we got the Facebook community site where people could go and post themselves shining their light.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. So sometimes Gina posts on there her videos of her doing gymnastics. Christina posted her artwork. And other people go on there and post things. People riding bikes, kids riding bikes for the first time, right? Things like that. So it's really doing its job. And when people are guided to it, then they just post something. And it just shows them doing what they like to do with no questions asked.
Yeah, no, it's a really great innovation, I think. Again, going back to the time during the pandemic where it seemed like there's a lot of negativity every corner, every turn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
True.
also just I want to ask you, given that Nicole and her cousin at the time when they were younger helped make this project, right? Do you think that the overall message of Shine Your Light connects well with young people or practically anybody who may come across it today?
I think Shine Your Light's message is for everybody, all ages, all people. My band plays that song at gigs or open mics, and people are singing it because the chorus is all Shine Your Light lyric, and they can echo it back and forth. And so if they know the song especially, then they really sing. Like when you guys come, I call them the Shine Your Light kids. When they show up at one of my gigs, they start singing it. People are singing along with them, and we're going back and forth. So there's participation in that. And that's positivity right there, right? Even putting positive words out into the world, that's positivity. So if you're singing them out, it's double time good. So that's how we put it out into the world. Putting out joy, put out positivity, all goodness. That's what it's about.
So now, in like a broader sense, since, you know, Shine Your Light really brought positivity, joy into the world, and like my own life as a Shine Your Light kid, as, you know, just creating it in general, what does music in general mean to you?
Oh my goodness, music is joy. If that's my equation, music equals joy. Because I write a lot of positive lyrics. My bass player is always complimenting me. I love all your songs. They're all so positive. Well, they're positive now. They weren't always. I used to be kind of like a Taylor Swifter, and I would write about things I didn't like so much.
Okay.
But now I write more about things, how you can take that thing that you don't like and turn it around and make it more positive. So it's just music equals joy. Music equals positivity. To get that message out. If you have a talent or you have something that you can contribute, make it a good one, right? To the world, make it a good one. Be like that superhero in that little field that you have be that, superhero and try to bring that. I used to bring it to the preschool. I used to sing things positive to the kids. I used to write a lot of children's songs for that. And I do it now at the open mics when I go there. I'll sing for the adults, and I wrote a song just recently. It's called Pick Me Up. And it actually started out as being a sad song. But then I turned it around and I put a little twist in it, and it turned out, if we can't be together, just be nice. Pick me up. Give me a pick me up. Be with me or don't be with me, but just be good. Give me a pick me up. And they all loved it. So I could write songs for children and people of all ages. Because positivity and joy is what everybody needs to feel. I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. I
was going to say, I think that's something which I feel like a lot of musicians wish that's something they wish could do. They want to try to get a target audience. And how do we do that? What are the things that we write about? And I think your main premise about writing about positivity, making people's days better, we're key to that, because I feel like if we just heard all the musicians say, all the popular musicians write about that, I would make a lot of bigger difference in the way.
And you have to also realize there's other emotions. There's other emotions besides joy. But you can take those emotions and you can turn them around. You have to find the hope in things. Otherwise, what are you going to aspire to? If you just stay in the anger or you just stay in the sadness. Like, I had a tragedy that happened, and going through grief, I write songs about grief, but I write about coming out at the end of that tunnel and feeling better and knowing that there's better for you, because you can grieve anything. You could grieve losing a job. You can grieve losing a person. You can grieve losing a toy if you're a kid, right? Something breaks and you're grieving it, but you have to kind of find that light at the end of the tunnel and come out of it. Hopefully, losing that little toy train is not going to disrail you for the rest of your life. You want to come out of it, and then bigger things happen, but there's still a light at the end of the tunnel, and you have to find it. Those are the things I write about.
That's really cool. And I just want to ask you a question surrounding that topic regarding Shine Your Light and some of your other work as a reflection. If our listeners care to listen to more of your work, where would they be able to find it?
They could go to Spotify, Pandora, anywhere you stream music. My stuff is on there, and you can just search Laurie Davis, and something will come up. There's quite a few. There's some children's CDs on there, and then there's 3 other ones that are more pop contemporary, and you can find them there. Or you could even go to my Facebook community. I have Laurie Davis Music, and you can see my band videos there. You can hear, in that band, it's the Laurie Davis Band. We do original music and cover music, so you can catch stuff on there.
That is just so cool. My goodness.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's a great job. I love it. Like I said, I was teaching preschool for a long time, and I realized that I love to teach. But I was over teaching preschool. I was like, I need to do more with my music. Yes, I can share it with the children, but I want to share it with more people. I want to share the joy. I want to share the energy. I want to share my talents. I don't want my talents to die with me. I want other people to carry them on, right? So I teach guitar, I teach drums, and I have some students that are really receptive to it. And I just decided to just do that now. I don't teach preschool anymore. I'm teaching on Zoom. I'm teaching in people's houses. Sometimes they come to me in my studio as well. And I'm teaching music, and my business is going very, very well. But if anyone wants to get on a waiting list, you can go and just PM me on Facebook, and I can put you on a waiting list to learn how to do music. It's just really fun.
Oh, that's really cool. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Davis, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So much this interview.
This is awesome.
Very, very good. But did you want to talk any more about Staten Island and Clove Lakes and all that kind of thing? Or did you not want to do that?
No, we can, really quickly. What drove you to choose Clove Lakes?
The pandemic, actually.
Curious.
We had to be outside. We had to be outside, and like I said, I planned the music, and I knew I could play my guitar, sing. I could do a couple of dance moves, and I could speak a couple of words. I mean, I'm not an actress, but I could do what the kids were asking me to do. But they decided, let's do it outside, because they didn't drive. Nicole was the oldest kid at the time, 15. Everybody else was younger. So I decided, okay, I'll pick you and your sister up, let Julia and Ryan get themselves there. Their dad took them. And then we met at the park. And then I think we used 3 or 4 spots in Clove Lakes.
Yeah, we used the main grassland, which was, I mean, at the time it was so desolate there because...
Yeah, there was nobody there. There was only people in the basketball court. There was really nobody.
Yeah, no one was really there.
So we had a nice private area. I mean, a couple of people walked by and waved to us.
Yeah, people walk by, they would sing along, and it was really
cute
to see.
Yeah. So that was kind of nice. And some people stopped and watched us because they didn't know what we were doing. So we explained to them what we were doing. And I think we used right over the lake in that big grassy area by the trees.
Yeah.
We used the bridge, which was really cool because you guys did that whole jump thing there.
Yeah, we used the walkway too in Clove Lakes.
Yeah, we used the walkway because you guys were being the bullies. Yeah. And the bullies were walking on the walkway. And we used, I think we got a shot of the lake with a couple of boats like to the side. Nobody was in the boats because it was closed.
Yeah.
They couldn't.
Yeah, I would say like 3 to 4 spots we used out of Clove Lake.
Yeah.
It's such a good park, especially at the time because
nice.
In general, it's big. There's a lot to do.
Yeah, it was really good. So Clove Lakes was a good spot for that. And I grew up on Staten Island, so it was, I knew the park well. The kids, we always took to the park, so it was like a very homey place for us to do that. It was like very welcoming, and it was really nice to be outside in the park. And we went twice together. I think you guys went a couple of more times to get extra shots. But then you all put it together, and I couldn't believe what it was like.
Yeah, we wanted to create something so big, and we were also bored at the time. Like, we wanted to explore this song that you wrote and just make it come alive. And
every time I see my Shine Your Light kids, they're always singing that song. It's so welcoming. It brings joy to me, and it obviously is bringing joy to them, whether they're laughing with me or at me. It's working joyfully. So I'm very thrilled about that.
Yeah, no, that's like a really compelling story. Really, the creative process that you guys took on during the pandemic.
I like to get everybody involved in everything. It's really, really fun. Yeah.
Make sure everybody has like a purpose.
Yes, absolutely. That's it. Your purpose. What you love to do is your purpose. Whether it's just a hobby purpose or more than that, but it's important. And people should know about it. And don't let somebody bring you down. That's the message of Shine Your Light.
Cool. Well, Davis, thank you very much again.
You're so welcome.
Sharing your creative process with this song and this artwork and this project that you made. We really appreciate it.
Highlight of the pandemic for me, without that, I don't know, like life would not be the same,
Yeah.
It just brought so much joy into my life and to everyone else's lives. I think we all needed to shine our light.
Sure. I mean, relating back to what we talked about, how a lot of the stuff that we love to do was out of our hands, out of our capability of doing.
Control.
You just made the most out of the situation because you went to Clove Lakes and you made this project.
Yeah.
That's just really cool.
It was just so memorable, and the process of making the video, I really enjoyed it, and so did my aunt, so did my cousins, and I think it was just something that we spread so much positivity in the world, and knowing that really, really made it amazing in like my life.
Yeah, and I mean, with my family too, mostly my mom's side of the family, my grandma's family, they're also really, really musically inclined, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of background with that, but they didn't come up with this idea to make this kind of project. You know what I mean? During the pandemic, when things were really, we were all like, we kept in touch, but they don't really live close to Staten Island anymore too. So that it would really be complicated if we did something like that. But with your family, I think that's something to really cherish. Something to really
It's
cherish.
something to cherish. My aunt, she at every party, at every family gathering, she's always performing. She's always bringing that joy to our life. Like I always like to say, like, when I was younger, my lullabies were my aunt singing, and it was really sweet. It's like really sweet to look back on, and she's just someone that will never let anyone get in her way of doing her music, and I just really love
I
that.
think that's a mindset.
It's just so
Like,
inspirational.
oh, definitely. Like to have a mindset where she said before, like in the interview, it's not really nice to put people down for what they want to do. And I
Exactly.
think she really embodies that because she's doing what she's doing. Doesn't matter if people like are there to listen to it, if they're like tuning it out, doesn't matter. She's still gonna be doing her thing.
Exactly. It's like, if you have passion, go for it. Don't let anyone get in your way. Don't let anything stop you because, you're capable of doing anything you desire to do.
Yeah, that's just so awesome, Nicole. That's so awesome. And what do you say, Nicole, right now? We have a couple minutes left in our show. What do you say we play the project that you and your aunt and your cousins made?
I think we should play it.
All right. I think I concur with that. I
think,
concur.
yeah,
concur.
I think everyone needs to hear Shine Your Light.
Sure. Okay. So, listeners, this has been Floor of the Forgotten Borough on 90.3 WMC Montclair with me, Aidan Ivers, and Nicole.
Nicole Passero.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode. I had a great conversation, as always, Nicole. It was really cool. And we're going to play the song that Nicole and her aunt made together. And really, I want you listeners to listen to it and take it in the rest of your week because it's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. It's going to go downhill from here. And just keep that sense of positivity in your mind by hearing this song. I'm really excited to hear about it.
Yeah.
So let's do it.